again, it really is my honor to join you. I'm Rob Larew. I serve as the president of National Farmers Union, which, as many of you probably know, is a federation of independent state organizations out there, of which Hawai'i Farmers Union United is one of our most active, and certainly has so much energy and excitement. It's always impressive to see everything that you've got going on. I might, before I get too far, actually, I was just visiting with the Canadian Embassy, so I had the jacket on and the tie and so forth. I hope you guys don't mind that I may just kind of loosen up here just a little bit, because when I'm going around talking to state farmers unions about hearing what work they're doing, learning from them, and sharing some of the activities at National, it's the best part of my job. I love what it is I'm doing, and it's just, quite frankly, good for my soul to kind of engage at the state level. So, as you probably also know, as Farmers Union, since its inception, has been very much a grassroots-driven organization. And what that means really for me is that all of the work that we do at National, either through our national office here in DC, or the folks that we have in other parts of the country, that nothing that we're doing here, either in terms of lobbying on Capitol Hill, or education programming, or other development efforts that we're tackling out there, nothing is done that isn't first originating and driven from the local and really the farm level. And that's what first attracted me to Farmers Union many years ago, and is certainly the reason why I want to continue to be very much a part of all of the activity here. Certainly, Farmers Union has tremendous diversity, not only in all the wonderful people that are members, but in the style of agriculture, in the opportunities that farmers have across the country, and also all the challenges that they're facing. But there are some common principles and common shared opportunities, goals, as well as challenges that we'd like to come together to try to sort out what are our priorities and what should we be working on kind of moving forward. One of those issues that is taking up a great deal of our time right now, because it is such a priority, is really this fundamental issue that we've known for a very long time in agriculture and throughout the entire food system here in the US, is that we have a system so much driven by corporate monopoly or near monopoly company control. And so whether that is in shippers from, there's just in the continental US, there are so few railroads that really dominate and hold farmers in many cases captive to what is taking place. I see a comment. First of all, I just want to make a quick note here that someone has commented that can't hear the audio. Can others hear my audio before I go further? Okay, sounds like it might be a limited problem. I hope that gets resolved here. Certainly, if you are having audio troubles and so forth, I'm accessible in many different ways. So if you want to learn more about what it is that I've engaged in, I'm happy to have those conversations. But this issue within the food system, it's complicated, and it's not something that happened overnight. Really, it started accelerating in the 1980s and has just kind of, gone crazy in many cases, where consumers, when they go to the stores, too often don't have real choices. They have choices that have been dictated them by the shippers, by the those who are drawing a blank on the word, but the Ciscos of the world, those who are distributing the food, and the companies that are producing it. although you may see a lot of different brands, in so many cases, we're talking about just a handful of companies all up and down that chain. And so what that means is really a false choice for consumers. We can talk about the health effects of that. We can talk about the climate effects of that, and we do. But ultimately, what we are talking about here is a system that is not only failing farmers and consumers, but is certainly failing the planet as well because it's not very resilient. And so as Farmers Union, we have made this a huge priority and have labeled this under a banner that we're calling Fairness for Farmers. And it is about making sure that consumers can, first of all, have labels that truly tell them where their food is coming from. And so that they have more informed choices, creating better and more real and sustainable markets for farmers so that where we're able to connect farmers to consumers directly, or at least creating greater diversity in the supply chains so that farmers have better market opportunities, have that fair shake at being successful, and ultimately benefiting not only farmers and consumers in this case, but I would argue all of our communities, because there's a lot more kind of natural activity to benefit everyone. And what we saw in just the last couple of years has been that the pandemic has put this enormous pressure on this very what economists might call, a super efficient food system. But we've learned very quickly that it's not a very resilient one. Some of us have been arguing this for a very long time, but the public, for the first time in multiple generations, has finally seen what we've been talking about and understand many of the challenges that we're facing. So we have a window of opportunity, is what we're saying, that where you have consumers now understanding that it matters where they're choosing their food from, what their system looks like, and that they want to say in what that should look like going forward. For Farmers Union, it's about making sure that we are urging our lawmakers to bring fairness back to that marketplace, to enforce the antitrust laws that we already have on our books, but to quit the kind of accelerated mergers, acquisitions, this consolidation within the corporate space. Now, the trick, of course, in all of this, as we seek a more resilient and sustainable future, is that you have to do several things at once. You have to slow and limit, and maybe even some cases bust up some of this monopolistic behavior out there, to put the enforcements to make sure that it doesn't continue. But you also have to build the infrastructure in our communities out there to make sure that there is a local and regional kind of food system in place. Now, that doesn't go all the way, but it would go a huge step in getting us towards our goal. One of the other priorities, of course, at Farmers Union is one that I know that Hawaii Farmers Union United also shares, and that is issues regarding climate change and how we are going to address that, not only on our farms and challenges that we're already seeing in some cases, but as we look as a more sustainable and resilient future. And when it comes to this campaign on corporate ag behavior that we're labeling as Fairness for Farmers, I like to bring in climate change with it, not just because a more resilient kind of community, local, regional food system is ultimately going to be better for the planet, but because we have to be watching very carefully, because many of these same players in the corporate agriculture space, some of the biggest names who represent and stand behind many of the brands that consumers now have their choices for, are also going around touting all of the climate benefits that they're providing. And this is a real problem, because corporate America is not going to be our savior on the planet, and we cannot let them get away with this. We have, in fact, some companies who, while their social media is touting all of the important work that they're doing to create and support community-based agriculture and all of the important work that they're doing in climate, is at the same time taking contracts away from small farmers. The example I'm using right now is one that took place in New England, where 65 small dairy farms were told nearly overnight that there's no longer a market for your milk. You're going to have to find somewhere else. This same company that did that is also on social media talking about all the important work that they're doing to support their communities. And at the same time, but not publicly, are going to much larger farms that they also have within their system. And they're telling those larger farms, increase your production because we just got rid of some small farms. So we need these even larger ones to get even bigger. Now, it doesn't take much of knowledge of climate science to understand that there is a huge disconnect between their marketing campaign and what the effect of what they're doing is truly having, not only in terms of long-term climate, but right now on our small communities out there and these family farmers. And so as we talk about climate, as we talk about fairness for farms, these two are intermingled. And we have this system right now that globally is not benefiting us. And so we're trying to lead the challenge here and the charge through Farmers Union, not only in our individual state organizations, but obviously nationally, and through our participation in the World Farmer Organization, which represents small, medium-sized family farms globally. We are trying to continue to push this message because if we are going to tackle what I see as two of the biggest existential challenges facing family farm agriculture right now, it is certainly climate change and the need to rethink the way we're producing food, how we're marketing that food, and how consumers are taking advantage of that good food. And then also making sure that we have a food system that is in place that is going to continue to allow our community-based or locally, regionally driven agriculture to survive, which ultimately will make sure that our communities locally can survive as well. This is at the heart of what we're doing. It's certainly not everything. We certainly have a lot of work that we're continuing to do in education. We've had certainly Hawaii Farmers Union United members who have participated in our Beginning Farmers Institute and a number of our other programming. We continue to welcome everyone to try to take advantage of those opportunities. Most of this information, including our current campaign on fairness for farmers, additional information can be found at our webpage, nfu.org/fairness for farmers. And again, I welcome the opportunity at some point here in a whatever this new normal is going to be able to visit with you live and in person, visit your farms and your growing operations, and to learn more about all of the success that you guys are finding within your own communities through Hawaii Farmers Union United. So Katie and Vincent, I might just stop there, see if there's anything else you'd like for me to touch on. Really, just happy to be able to visit for a few minutes with you.
Rob, aloha, and can you hear me okay?
I can.
All right, Mr. President, good to see your face and the monologue you shared this morning. It's spot on, Rob. And you know, the work at the National Farmers Union level, when I come to the board meeting there's a lot of concern around all this. And just so you know, on our end, and what to let folks know that we're going to be having strategic planning in January at National Farmers Union. I hope to bring to the table and get some traction around the importance of soil health in this whole climate mitigation process. And you spoke to that, revisit how we produce the food. And tomorrow we have a presentation by a man named Dan Kittredge, who's developed the beginning stages of nutrient density meter. And I feel that that's where really the rubber's going to meet the road, that we can quantify what the nutrient density is in our food. And you know, as I said before, farmers may be foolish, but they're not stupid. As soon as they know that if they grow their food in a certain way that gets that nutrient density, then we'll be getting more money in that spirit. So this way, a lot of the big players that are kind of cutting corners around production of food and just looking at raising yields as opposed to quality of food will be left behind in that spirit. So I just appreciate and applaud your leadership, Rob. It's been a really wonderful thing. You know, everybody out there, just so you know, we went to our Savannah convention where Rob was voted in as president, then COVID hit. So kind of a cool joke for you and trying to hit the ground running. But you've really done a great job, and we really appreciate how you show up. And I feel very proud member of that board that you're leading.
Oh, thank you for the kind words, Vincent. And really, I'm also very proud to be a part of this organization because, you know, in spite of, you know, what are sometimes some pretty big differences in our operations and so forth, you know, across, you know, our entire footprint, really at the heart and soul and the values that we all share about what the future should look like in our care for our communities and our neighbors and our families is really what I'm probably most proud of for this organization. So again, it's been my honor to be able to visit for a few minutes today.
And one thing, we have a senator who is the chair of the Agriculture Committee here with us this weekend. I want to introduce you, Senator Mike Gabbard. And Mike, would you like to share anything with President Rob?
Just aloha, Rob. Thank you for all that you do, and looking forward to the convention here. And hearing, it's so nice to get away from the perpetual SUIs and get out in the field and see people. And so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Alrighty. Hey, thank you. And we appreciate your support and look forward to kind of partnering with you, not only there in the state, but anything that we can be doing to be helpful, you know, as Hawaii tries to take advantage of opportunities kind of going forward. Please consider us a partner in that effort.
And this is the boardroom, as you can see right now, the conference room. Everybody say hi to Rob. All right. So thank you so much, Rob. All the best, and I'm hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to physically be there in January. I'll have to see if I can swing it, but I'll be on Zoom if nothing else. Okay.
Alrighty, sounds good, Vincent. Take care.
All right.